Afternoon, folks. How are we all today? Just get Facebook sorted out. Now we're with yous. Okay, that's Facebook sorted out, and that's me just got the notification that I'm live. As you can see, folks, once again, I'm on my own. The other David's not doing too great at this point in time. Things are not going to plan, but he is in good spirits, and he knows that it will sort itself out. Right, so once again, we'll be doing this broadcast in the style of Indie Truck Davies. We'll just give Facebook a chance to come on, and then we'll just get John Baxter in. Anybody else in for Facebook? We'll get Melanie in. Hi Melanie, how are you? Who we got for YouTube in the door at the moment? We get thanks for moderating, Mark, and Hugh, and no doubt Arston will be there somewhere. Who else we got? John, Eddie, Margaret, Noakes, Stephen Bankier, Class Action. Hi Davey, how's Dylan? No doubt he's there somewhere as well. We'll just let the numbers jump and then we'll get into this broadcast. Who's in now for Facebook? We've got one Robertson. Mark Leslie's in for Facebook. Margaret Brand. Hi Margaret. You don't need to tell me what the weather's like where you are. I know, you only live a couple of miles from me. Hi Lynn. Hi Elizabeth. P. Gates. Huh? How's the weather in Duisburg today? Okay. Now we're nearly there. Once we go up to the 100 mark, we'll get this broadcast underway. Hi, Last Braveheart. Hi, Donald. Okay. Oh, Gingers. How's America today, Gingers? It's roasting in Sweden, is it, Melanie? Glad to hear it. Right, we're up there 100 mark. Let's get this broadcast underway. It's the two Davies from the 13th to the 5th, 2024, minus a Davy. So they say this will be done in the style of Indie Truck Davy. And it's Indie Truck Davy out the truck in that home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is not a bad day. Quite clear, 18 degrees. No bad at all. That's the weather for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look out your own bloody windy. Maybe that a wee comment so I can see how the weather is where you are. Okay. Right. So, as you all know, John Swinney penned a letter in the National last week. And it didn't get doing well with activists. I did a broadcast about it myself, stating that if he wants to change the route map for independence, or if he wants to change a policy, then for policy, he'll need to put a manifesto together and go in front of people. And for to change the route map to independence, he would need to take it to the floor of the conference to get the conference to change the route to independence. Well, on Thursday, John backtracked and told the BBC that no, the plan goes ahead. Majority MPs still a mandate for independence, and he will be making provisions to facilitate it. He then goes on to tell the BBC what he tells everybody else. The cost of living crisis and Brexit, the fault of the UK government and the English and Welsh people is holding Scotland back, and the only way to sort that out is through independence. Now, the thing about what John did with his letter in the National was he gave everybody the idea that he was backpedaling for independence. Now he's got minister after minister having to go and say, no, we're just resetting the amount of effort we put into things like the economy and the cost of living crisis. Things that we can do fuck all about. That sort of dishonesty for politicians here in Scotland pisses me off. Can he change the No, they caught again. Anyway, you can't change very much when you've only got income tax and local taxation to try and encourage your business. When the big taxes are all held in Westminster. I don't like it when politicians are being dishonest. We're going to, like Kate Forbes, we're going to fire up this economy and get it going on all cylinders. Don't know how. Absolutely no idea how. What exactly economic lever are you going to push or pull? Anyway, John's backtracked. He's forced onto the press to say, no. Things are going ahead as planned, as the last referendum, as the last conference. But, as I say, it's the damage that could have been done in the meantime. You can already hear the nuts on the right and the fringier movement all shouting, tell you the SNP did they want independence. Tell you the SNP did they want independence. Alex Hammer's having a field day. I see George Carver is in the National today and all saying the Alpha Party has matured as a party. They haven't got anybody fucking elected yet. They've matured. I don't see them moving anywhere in the polls. Mr. Salmon making hay. We're a change of leader in the SNP's no help to many. In fact, apparently there's a bounce for the SNP. And that will explain why today we're being told that Police Scotland are about to submit a report to the Crown Office. The Crown Office thought it's me. Thought I. The Crown Office doesn't bring prosecutions in Scotland. That's the Procurator Fiscal's job. Anyway, apparently there's a report going. And that'll be because the SNP's got a bounce to the polls selecting Swinney as the leader. So we need SNP bad stories. So Joe Farrell, Chief of Police here in Scotland, kindly obliges by telling us of a report about Peter Muro's embezzlement case sent to the Crown Office in the next couple of weeks, and that the investigation is ongoing. Ongoing? Yeah, the investigation will be ongoing until after this election. Now, I wonder if anybody else will be charged with anything as this investigation is ongoing at 1.6 million quid and fuck knows how many man hours. It's going to be interesting. But as I say, this story's not going anywhere. And why is this? This is the bit that annoys me. Why is this report for Police Scotland being submitted to the Crown Office in England rather than the Procurator Fiscal's office in Scotland? So, there's questions to be asked here. As the prosecutor here in Scotland, isn't it the Crown Office, the Procurator Fiscal? That's the reason why we have the Stushy with the Scottish and Westminster government over the post office scandal. When Westminster passed legislation to forgive everybody, to admonish everybody for wrongful conviction, they extended it to Northern Ireland, which is a different legal system, but didn't extend it to Scotland because the Procurator Fiscal and the Advocate General, the Lord Advocate, brought the charges here. No, the Post Office. The Postmaster General didn't have any power here in Scotland. It's the same sort of thing. But why is this being referred to the Crown Office and not the Procurator Fiscal Office? It's interesting. Right, let's move on. Murdo the Fudd, Murdo Fraser, and the unionist think tank Reform Scotland teamed up to look at updates of how the Scottish Parliament is looking, or looking to update how the Scottish Parliament works. Okay. Now, Murdo believes there should be more MSPs, as the power residing in Holyrood have increased since 1998. Murdo states more powers were devolved in the 2012 and 2016 Scotland Acts, and Murdo wants supervision over the number of ministers and what ministries should be in place in the Scottish Parliament to reside in the hands of MSPs rather than the party or parties who are forming the executive. He also wants committee conveners paid, and he wants committee conveners to have the same sort of power as ministers. Okay. Now, Murdo's claiming that the Scottish Parliament was set up in such a way that to encourage cooperation between the parties for the greater good of Scotland, but that has deteriorated into a mini Westminster. You wonder where Murdo the Flood gets this stuff. So let's get this straight. He wants more MSPs. Probably less MSPs, to be fair. Because that's the way Murdo thinks. Because Murdo's never been elected. Right? So he wants more MSPs, water in the pool, making it harder for a nationalist majority. Right? He wants the Parliament to decide, the MSPs, not the executive to decide which ministers there should be and which ministers there should be. Basically, what Murdo wants is to take the power away from whatever party is forming the executive and put it in the hands of the unionists. That'd be great, class action. We've got less MPs now anyway, so more MSPs means losing MPs, does it? But it would appear that Murdo wants to gerrymander the Parliament in such a way that nobody can form a proper executive and administer it properly. He wants to take the power from ministers, from committees. He wants to decide which ministers should and shouldn't exist. He wants to decide the number of MSPs. This is new. The unionist think tank Reform Scotland is headed by Jack McConnell, real Lord Jack McConnell. And he says, although he doesn't agree with Murdo's politics, he agrees that the Parliament needs reformed. So it would appear that the unionists don't see themselves getting any power in the executive along that road anytime soon. So they've decided that the executive's going to change. The Parliament's going to change. It's going to change to make sure they've got sway and mercy. Absolutely mental. But you can see where their thinking are going in this. They're getting desperate. It doesn't matter what happens at the general election. The drive for independence won't go away. It just means there'll be a new movement built. That's all. This question will need to be put to the people to be put to bed. And the only way it's going to be put to bed with the yes outcome, and they know that. They know that. So they want reform. All right. Now, Chief of Police Joe Farrell was in the news again at the weekend. Now, she was in the news at the weekend of the Peter Murrell report to the Crown Office, and then she was there to berate the press. Chief of Police Joe Farrell is pissed off at the way the press spun and misinformed the public about the Hate Crime Act. She's bloody well raging. She says the misinformation spat out by the press here in Scotland. The disinformation spat out by the press here in Scotland. Actually, caused huge problems for Police Scotland. As people made stupid phone call after phone call after phone call out absolutely nothing. And people tried to waste their time. Like that idiot that wrote the Harry Potter books, who decided that she would go onto Twitter, X, whatever it's called, and describe a gender group. There was no hating in, she said. she just described a gender group. Mental. And that sort of crap's been taken up with Scotland's time for a while now. Now, as I said, this story would disappear quite quick. And I was correct. In fact, we wouldn't have heard any more about it if it hadn't been for Joe Farrell being angry with the press. The Chief of Police being angry with the press. We'd have heard no more about it. And I've explained why. There was no Section 35 threat on the hate crime bill. For damn good reason. It would have made the arseholes in Westminster look like hypocrites. Because in 2006, they protected age groups and religious groups. And in 2008, they introduced another bill to plug a gap in their equality law, which protected gender groups. So, the press had a field day up here telling us all it was the end of free speech, when technically, if that was true, free speech ended in England in 2006 and 2008. No, D-Doc and anger will not be reported by the press. It's in the National. It couldn't be hidden, as it was on the BBC. But we'll get wide press coverage. No, because the press that gives out the misinformation. And that includes the BBC. It was the BBC that was being berated by Joe. But as I said, this Stussy that had been kicked up out of this, I said it was nonsense. I said it was that. Tick, right again. Idiots. Right, this one is another one that does my fucking nothing. It seems I'm in one of the moods today, folks. On the telly yesterday, my own MSP, great guy, really like him actually, Neil Gray, he's saying he's open to ideas for the NHS going forward. And that the one thing we can all be sure of is that the NHS in Scotland will remain free at the point of need. It will remain in public hands. And I thought to myself, Neil, I know you don't think you're lying, but you are lying to the people. The future of the NHS isn't in our hands. The future of the NHS here in Scotland will be decided in Westminster. It will be decided in Westminster by funding formulas that have been put in place. They defund their NHS. Your NHS is defunded. They want to move to a private system down there. They're not spending any money in health, so there's no default health money coming up the road. They will decide the future of Scotland's NHS, whether we fucking like it or not. They hold the purse strings. Neil was also telling us about a refocus on the economy and the problems caused by the cost of living crisis. I'm fed up listening to this bullshit. Why does somebody want to just somebody stick a letter along that road with a list of what's fucking reserved on it for these muppets? The economy's up there in the first 10. We don't need that for our politicians. We need them to be frank and honest with people so that people get a clear picture of what it is Holyrood does. Holyrood only covers about 4 competencies of government: health, education, environment, and infrastructure. There isn't much else along that fucking road. They're white briefs, but that's about it. On the power of our income tax. That's about it. That's all it is. All this shit about we're going to supercharge the Scottish economy. You better wrestle the powers to do it for Westminster then. You don't control the borders, you don't control immigration, therefore you cannot control growth. You just can't. You don't control corporation tax, Holyrood. So you can't make the business environment any better here in Scotland where it is down that road. Hi, Daily Blase. Hi, folks. Check out Daily Blase's channel. Absolutely brilliant. Covers the committees in Westminster like a dream. And the main chamber. Covers Westminster politics brilliantly. And with a wee sense of humour twist as well. He's brilliant. Right, so Neil probably inadvertently misled the people. Because he's not that sort of guy. But the truth is, the future of NHS Scotland does not lie in the hands of Holyrood. Maybe how it's run while it still exists lies in the hands of Holyrood. But its future lies in Westminster because they hold the purse strings, and whatever model England decides to follow, the rest of us will be forced to follow too. Simple as that. No point in bullshitting people. And that's the sort of truth I want to hear from my politicians. Right, where are we? So Neil, that was naughty. Don't do it again. Okay. Right. Sunak's speech on threats facing the UK external and internal. I love a quote today. He talks about outside forces. He talks about inside forces. He calls peace protests pro-Palestinian protests or anti-Semitic protests. And he also says that us Scottish nationalists are extremists who want to break up his beautiful country. And then he goes on to mention the union. It would appear the man's not just a fucking idiot. It would appear he's quite confused, as well as being an idiot. Make your mind up, Westminster politicians. Is it a fucking union, or is it a fucking country? I can tell you what the legal definition is if you want, you fucking idiots. That's the poor standard of politicians we have down that road. They don't recognise in 1967 they had to declare the UK a state of equal partners in the United Nations. So it's not a country. It's never been a country. Never will be a country. And this British shit, that's exactly what it is. It's shit. It doesn't exist. There's the Irish, the Welsh, the Scots, and the English live in this fucking island, as well as multiple people from the rest of the world, enriching all of our nations. But it would appear that Westminster politicians seem a bit confused. Rishi Sunak's not the brightest of them. In fact, he's probably one of the dimmest of them. But you would think they would know the difference between a country and a state. They run the state. They don't run a country. Which is to England's detriment, because it means they don't have politicians who specialise in their fucking interests. But it would appear that England don't want a devolved parliament. Or actually, it means Westminster doesn't want a devolved parliament in England. That might go up against Westminster along with the rest of us. But anyway, folks, it's official. We're extremists and we're a threat to our UK. Expect the clamp down to start. If Sunak thinks we're extremists now, wait until the civil disobedience starts, when they continually ignore the democratic mandates of the Scottish people to their governments, and when they continue to ignore the democratic will of the Scottish people. They're worried about their systems going down on Haxby, outside forces. They forget that me and Milligan nearly set fire to Mundell's servers just by asking you people to hit them at one time. They can send the police to my door and I'll explain to them how civil disobedience is going to work in the 21st century, in 2024, 2025, if we have to start doing that road. It'll start by me and people like me calling for our friends, our families and our followers, basically 2 million Scots, to pick or to target a government body, let's just say Department of Work and Pensions, and just fucking email them junk mail all day and shut their fucking servers down. 2 million emails in one go, pop, computer's fucked. Bother. You want to label as extremists? We can get extreme on your arse, Mr. Sunak, if you want. We are a legitimate democratic movement exercising our right to democratically call to be allowed to express our opinion on self-determination. And self-determination, which the United Nations Charter tells all peoples they're entitled to. I'll fucking extremist them. He wants to see extremism. Just carry on. We see extremism start right after this next election if they want some extremism. I know how to whip up civil disobedience in the cyber age. Done it already, do it again. Last time it was an MP, next time it'll be a government department. Fucking idiot. Want to call me an extremist for my legitimate democratic beliefs and my legitimate rights. He wants to call me extreme. Wants to call me extreme. I'll start organising civil disobedience. I'll show him extreme. He only has to ask nicely, and I'll start the civil disobedience. Millie and I have had wrapped around this one for a long time, and we've got a big fucking network. He wants to play extremism, does he? We can stop being the nice people we've been so far, just peacefully demanding our democratic rights. But if he wants, we'll cripple his fucking government in Westminster for him. I'll show him extremism. Now, I'll expect a visit to the police shortly, but I don't mind, because I haven't done anything. I've only explained to a moron that I'm willing to stand up for my democratic rights. A moron who stood in the TV and called me a threat to a fucking country that doesn't fucking exist. Great Britain's no fucking country, and the fact that the people of England keep elected people too stupid to know that is the reason why this union doesn't work. Okay, what else have we going on down that road? Apart from being called extremist by Titchy Sunak. And the way he had to go at groups standing up for the rights of their members, whether it be religious groups or political groups. Mr. Sunak, last time I looked, this is a democracy. And everybody's entitled to representation. But you're not calling me an extremist for exercising my legitimate democratic rights. Because if you want to call us extremists and you want to clamp down on us, expect civil disobedience. You have been fucking warned. And believe me and my mate Milligan, we've been working on this for the last 12 years. You're in trouble. Right, what else we got? Labour and meltdown. As the effect of Elphick has a lot of the top brass looking like fucking muppets. Huh? Ed Balls defending the defection. The chair of the party defending the defection. Huh? No real. But the membership is no one doing well with the membership. I really do think Starmer's trying hard to lose this bloody election. I do. I really do. But anyway, as we know, West Street told us they're in negotiation with other career politicians to be absorbed from the Conservative Party into the One Nation, a red Tory party. I had a wee rant about that and all. Hey, aye, dear Madam Director, I love a new coffee. Say hi, everyone, Madam Director.
Hi, Madam Director.
Oh, I said say hi, everybody, know yourself. Anyway, what else nonsense we got down that road today, this week? Oh, aye, that's right. Small boat landings. Soon up we're talking about small boats. They're at a record high because the weather's good. Wow. Oh, I know you guys will all be by my side, Alistair. Alistair. And I know you know that we already know how to do it. Because you'll be part of the discussion groups that Millie and I have held down through the years on how to do it. You know? Anyway, what else nonsense is going down that road? Aye, they all took effect. And the top brass down there in West Street telling us that we're going to soak up many of these Tory MPs to cross the floor. I guess they can't be bothered looking for candidates for the general election, eh? Or maybe it's true, it is just one cheek. Or should we say one misfunctioning arse that only has one cheek. Oh well, we know it's definitely a misfunctioning arse, eh? Right, let's move on. Labour's West Street defends 2-child benefit cap as the evil one, Braverman, calls for it to be scrapped. Because the world went fucking mad. We've got the so-called party of the people wanting to impose poverty on the people. And we've got the nut job who was part of the hate culture down that road when it comes to immigration, calling for it to be scrapped now. I'll tell you what, she gets her way in the party, the polls are going to close. Brilliant. Yeah, they're only sending 200 to Rwanda. In fact, there's more than that arrived at the weekend. Labour to change the name of the 1922 committee. Sarah Duncan said hi. Sarah said hi back. No real. So the evil one wants to scrap the two. That's it. We could have an absolute swing here. Labour's been forced week in, week out by the Tories to say, no, we'll not change this, we'll not change that. And if they dump all their pledges because the Tories have said they'll be economically unaffordable. And now we'll get Tories turning tail on Labour once Labour have agreed that they're going to keep all these tip caps and all that sort of thing. Now the Tories are trying to scrap them. This could be quite a funny, dirty election. Talk about funny, dirty electioneering. It would appear that Labour's got more problems when it comes to Angela Rayner and her capital gains tax on the sale of her previous home, or one of her previous homes. I don't know when the one was bought. I really thought this was a no-go area, a no-go story. I thought it was another SNP finance story, you know what I mean? Talk about the SNP finance story. Is the Labour story in Wales went away yet? The 220,000 dodgy deposit. Anyway, Rayner apparently is to be cautioned by police or something that had a statute of limitations on it of 12 months. The fucking report was going to do with something that's no longer even a problem for Miss Rayner. The taxman had 12 months to spot any error and demand that it was fixed. After that, the taxman's no right to. So why is Miss Rayner being spoken to by police under caution? That's ought to be interesting. But it is definitely going to be a dirty, dirty election. You can see that already. Somebody's saying about the increased taxes will only bring in 82 million. That covered quite a bit, actually. Not cover everything we want, but hey, oh. Right, let's move on. As I say, it's part of the Angela Rayner thing. I mean, you cannot believe the shit down that road, can you? You hear about the Tories kicking up a fuss about tax evasion. Fuck's sake, they've all got offshore trusts. And they're kicking up a fuss about tax evasion. You couldn't make it up. You just couldn't. Mental. The world's gone mad. Oh, aye, UK comes up. This one's a cracker. This one's a cracker. UK comes out of recession. Jeremy Hunt has battled round the TV studios to celebrate and wave his Union Jack and tell us how great things are, as UK growth was 0.4 to 0.6% in the first quarter of this year. Wow. That is predicted to drop back down to 0.2 for the rest of the year, with stagnation in 2025 and the potential growth of 1.23% in 2026. Whereas the rest of the world, right now, has experienced 3% growth. And there is a couple of major economies that are struggling. Ours, Germany. And we'd Hunt talk about the fastest growth anywhere in the G7. 0.6% is no growth. And the recession we just come out with, well, technically it was a technical recession. And it's still a technical recession. We're stagnating. The economy's flatlined and is about to get fucking worse, as we know. As food prices are starting to rise again. Crops are failed in the fields because of the wet winter. And the imposition of import tariffs for goods for the EU, who aren't going to have a great harvest either, actually. But hey ho, they've got enough. We haven't. So, Hunt, champing the bit about 0.4 to 0.6% growth in the first quarter, been wonderful. The guys are fucking loony. On the Bank of England, holds bank rates with a wee glimmer of hope that they might come down in August or September. Nah, not going to happen. Once the inflation hits for the increased costs of bringing in goods, then that'll be further down the line to November, December. But you can always hope. If that sort of thing is something that worries you, if you're a borrower or a saver, I'm a long-term investor, so I tend to take these blips as fuck all. Affected me in the short term there. My pension took a whack, but the pot's still there, it'll grow again. But I can't believe that they're absolutely celebrating flatlining. Wow. Absolutely fucking nuts. And the growth that's portrayed, which is portrayed going forward, like 25, 26, 24, 25, 24 to flatline, 25, 26, 25 to flatline, 26, 1.2% growth, while the rest of the world is growing at 3+. That's the isolationism of Brexit. That is the isolationism of Brexit. Standards of living are dropping. Costs aren't stabilising. The way they tell you they are, they'll know. I mean, everybody's celebrating there in January getting 240 quid taken off their electricity bill. Really? My electricity bill is 220% fucking higher than what it was in 2020. I'm free. I was less than £1,000 a year in 2020. I'm £3,000 a year for my electricity now. Unbelievable. Yeah. What else? Aye. It's the end for the people in Gaza. Rafah's under attack. Netanyahu's went, get it fucking up to the whole world. I'm clearing this place, I'm clearing this lot, and I'm taking the land. And then when I've got the land, I'll steal their offshore resources. But I believe they're already issuing licenses. Licenses to drill for oil in the Gazan Sea. I said they had about 8 weeks. Anyway, Netanyahu's also shiting himself, and the Israeli people are not happy because it looks like the ICC are eventually going to fucking wake up and sign arrest warrants for Bibi and his cabinet. Meanwhile, the ambassador to the United Nations from Israel makes an absolute arse of himself by standing there and telling everybody that we're all liars, his country's no doing what they're doing, or his state's no doing what it's doing, and that we're all anti-Semitic, as he popped a mini version of the UN Charter through a mini shredder. I guess Israel's leaving the United Nations right now. Not good. And of course, across the road in the Russian-Ukraine conflict, big wide road, but a couple of seas in the middle, a lot of tunnels. Anyway, Ukraine, things are not going well. The Russians are pounding like fuck and making advances. Although when you seen the Victory Day parade in Red Square, you would think, you know, it didn't look like it did when the Iron Curtain was up. But there was no physical actual wars going on there. So all the machines that used to have firing through Red Square, well, actually they're all out in the field now, slaughtering Ukrainians. But Putin seems to be in a bit of trouble and all. He sacked some bugger, and the spooks are not happy about it. Which brings us back to Sunak and the speech on nuclear weapons and how he thinks that Labour once supported a guy who wanted to do away with the nuclear deterrent, disband the army and get out of NATO, meaning Jeremy Corbyn. So he's a wee attack on Labour in this one. He also tells us that the only way to get a bright future is to stick with his plan. The only problem for him is none of us know what the fuck the plan is. And if this is his plan, it's going to hell in a fucking handbag. Oof. That's what I've got for you today, folks. I hope you found it interesting. Now, in case you're wondering, I know the 2 Davies normally an hour long for you who are watching. 224 years at this point in time. But Indie Truck Davy was only 45 minutes long because I did it for the cab of my truck. You know, but these are the subjects that I've chosen to speak about today. There is other news out there, but these are the ones that I found interesting. And I thought I would share with you. Alright, now as you know folks, we don't have the super chat facility. The new David's not in any way, he's not in any fit mind to be able to concentrate long enough to put it back in place. If you can donate to the food bank fund, and things are getting hard out there, in the description of this video you'll see the 2 Davies food bank fund appeal account number. When I asked last week, a few quid come flying in. Thank you very much for all you who need your contributions. As I say, now hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as you know, as Indie Truck Davy, I never asked anybody to share anything I did, because I was only putting out on Facebook and it was for my friends. But this is a 2 Davies, this is a YouTube channel, and we do want to reach the wider public. So please, as we say, hit the like, hit the share, and hit subscribe. Okay, I want to thank you all very much for tuning in, again in large numbers. The channel is going from strength to strength. Now, what I am considering doing, folks, and you can let me know in the comments what you think, I am thinking of moving a Monday to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because it would give David a better chance to get through his morning treatments and his time in the gym, and maybe give him a better chance to join us when he's a wee bit fitter on the Monday. Because he would want to join us a day, and he was pretty determined to join us a day, and then the doctors come along and took him. So that's the way it goes. But normally all that nonsense is finished by 4 in the afternoon. So I am thinking about line and base shows with each other at 4 o'clock. But I don't want to stand on any other YouTubers' feet or any other YouTubers' throat, sort of thing. So I don't know. But, you know, you can let me know in the comments what you think. Alright? But as I say, I'll come back to our comments later on when I watch the show back up. always torture myself by having to watch each show back to see how many sweary words I threw in and things like that. Anyway, I hope you found it informative. I hope you found it entertaining. Remember, it's an election year. Swinney has now stated that they're sticking to the plan. And we know what the plan is. Majority MPs move on to a plebiscite Scottish election if they don't want to cooperate. That's the plan. So eyes on the prize, folks. The election year, when you trot into that box, put your cross in the SNP box. Remember, it's a general election for the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers, so you will require voter ID, because we know how those in the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers like to gerrymander elections. Have a nice day. Catch you all Thursday, 4 p.m. Bye for now.